In this video, we're going to talk about the 1 and 2 step test review. This video is going to go over each question step by step. So if you have any questions that you don't need help with, feel free to skip on to the next. Let's go ahead and start. Question number 1, solve the equation negative 6y equals negative 36. Hey, please remember that I am looking for what operation is going on and how to undo that operation. So this is where my variable is. The operation that's going on, this says negative 6 times y. So multiplication is my operation. To undo it, I want to use division. So I'm going to divide by negative 6 on the side with the variable. And also, because this is the equation, it needs to stay balanced, I'm going to do it on the other side. So on the left, that cancels out, and I'm left with y. And on the right, negative 36 divided by negative 6 is a total of positive 6. Moving on to the next. Solve this equation. C minus 8.6 equals negative 5.34. Now to solve this, I need to draw my line, identify where my variable is, identify my operation. The operation is subtraction. How do I undo that subtraction? I'm going to use addition. So because I subtracted 8.6, I need to add 8.6. So on the left side, underneath minus, I'm going to add. And if I do it to one side, I do it to the other. So negative 5.34 plus 8.6. Negative 5.34 plus 8.6 gives me a grand total of 3.26. 3.26. And that's my final answer. Let's check the next one. Solve this equation. So again, I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to identify my side with my variable on it, and I'm going to identify the operations. This means 5 times m plus 14. So what operations do I have going on? I've got multiplication, and I also have addition. How am I going to undo those? Multiplication, I'm going to undo with division. Addition, I'm going to undo with subtraction. Well, the question is, what do I get rid of first? Remember that I'm working order of operations backwards, so I'm going to start with any addition and subtraction before I do multiplication and division. Undoing the adding 14, I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides. This zeroes out, and I'm going to use my calculator. Negative 6 minus 14 gives me negative 20. So I am left with, here's my total line, 5m equals negative 20. I'm going to write this over here to the side. How do I continue to eliminate the variables next to m? Well, remember my other operation was multiplication. How do I undo that? Since this is multiplication, I'm going to use division. Dividing by 5, that eliminates 5, and m equals negative 4. Great, next problem, draw on my line. How am I going to go about solving this one? Identify where your variable is. Identify your operations. This is multiplication. And I also have subtraction. How am I going to undo it? I'm going to use division, and I'm going to use addition. Which do I do first? Remember order of operations backwards. Going backwards, starting with adding and subtracting. So I need to get rid of the minus 10, so I'm going to add 10 to both sides. That zeroes out, and I'm left with 1/2 z is equal to, what is 13 plus 10? It is 23. How do I get rid of the 1/2? Well, what is the opposite of multiplication? The opposite of multiplication is division. So to get rid of 1/2, I'm going to divide by 1/2 on both sides. I'm going to go to my calculator. 23 divided by 1/2 is 46. So z equals 46. Solving this equation. I'm drawing my line. I'm going to identify my operations. I've got on the top, I'm going to rewrite it a little bit. I don't like that the variable comes second. So m is positive, so I'm going to leave it positive. The 5 is negative, so I'm going to leave it negative. Now I'm going to identify my operations. I have subtraction and I have division. How do I undo those? I'm going to undo the subtraction with addition, and I'm going to undo the division with multiplication. Which do I do first? Now don't get caught in the trap of doing this subtraction first. I know in every other problem we have, but remember that big division bar traps that -5 in parentheses, and you can't undo that until the parentheses are gone. So how do I get rid of divided by 6? The opposite was multiplying by 6. So I'm going to multiply the right side, and I'm going to multiply the left side. When I simplify, I get 24 on the left equals, dividing and multiplying at the same time eliminates. I don't need to distribute, and I'm left with m minus 5. Now that I've taken care of the division, let's take care of the subtraction. I'm going to add 5, and I'm going to get 29 equals m. And that's my final answer, 29. Okay, last 3. So solving this equation, I'm going to draw my boundary line. Now, if I identify my operations, some of you might say subtraction and multiplication. Well, if I subtract, if I undo and add 3, is that going to get rid of the 3? 3 plus 3 is not 0. That doesn't zero out. Hey, why did that work that way? Remember, the variable came second. I'm rearranging this. I rearrange it every time in my head. 12 equals negative 3x plus 3. Negative 3x, remember, when I snip this in half, 3 stays positive, negative 3x is negative. So let's solve. I've got addition going on that I need to undo with subtraction, and I've got multiplication of a negative 3, and I need to undo by dividing by negative 3. So let's do order of operation backwards. We're going to get rid of the addition first. So subtract 3 from both sides. 12 minus 3 is 9. That zeroes out. How do I get rid of negative 3? Well, remember I multiplied by negative 3, so I need to divide by negative 3. 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. Okay. Omar works at an amusement park and earns $24 per hour. He also has to pay $12 for transportation. Last week he worked X hours and ended up with a total of $372 after paying for transportation. Write an equation. Well, right here it says $24 per hour. So 24 repeatedly, 24x. He has to pay $12 for transportation. Hey, that's a one-time fee. One time, no variable. Now, before I get too far, I need to think about this. Does 12 add to how much he has? Or does it take away from how much he earns? Hey, well, he earns this much, and then he has to pay this much. So if you have to pay something, you are taking away from your paycheck. So this is a decrease. Paying is a decrease. So let's go ahead and write our equation. He starts with 24x. He decreases by 12, and that equals 372. So that's my equation. Now I'm going to solve. I'm going to draw my line, identify my operations. I've got subtraction and multiplication. I'm going to undo subtracting by 12 by adding 12. Let's go ahead and do that first. 24x is equal to 384. I'm going to undo multiplication of 24 by dividing by 24 on both sides. X is equal to, that requires a calculator, 384 divided by 24. 384 divided by 24 for a grand total of 16. So Omar worked 16 hours last week. Last but not least is this problem. A printing company charges $34 per banner. So 34x. There's also a one-time setup fee of $17. So this is my one-time, no variable. He paid a total of $221. So far I have 34x. I haven't decided if that's an increase or a decrease, so I'm going to leave a blank spot, equals 221. I'm going to go back and investigate. So the 221 is how much he has to pay. He pays for the banner and he pays for the setup fee, so he's paying for both of those. So nothing is being taken away, it's all being added. There's my equation. How many banners did they print? Solving that equation, I've got addition and I've got multiplication. Because there's no parentheses, addition comes first, and I'm going to subtract 17 from both sides. 221 minus 17. 221 minus 17 is 204. 34x, that zeroes out. 204. We're running out of room. 204 divided by 34 divided by 34. So 204 divided by 34. Equals a grand total of 6. So x equals 6. So how many banners did Trey print? He printed 6 banners. All right, that is the review. If you have any extra questions, please reach out and have a great day.